Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our spoiler-filled discussion for Spider-Man: Brand New Day. How would you decide what parts of nature are good or bad? Hello, I'm J-Law, but you can call me Justin. And if you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast covering the world of movies, TV shows, gaming, and all things Geekcentric. And today, we're getting into the spoilers for Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Before we do, you obviously know I can't do this alone, and I am joined by my web-headed friends again. Yes, Nate Shelton, Darcy Hudson. How you both doing?
Doing good. Excited to finally talk about the things we couldn't talk about.
Yes, right? It felt like we were kind of doing a ballet around things, but I think, listening back to our spoiler-free review, I think we did a really great job of just kind of tiptoeing around certain things, but also talking about what people generally already know about the movie, right? Based on, the marketing. So, the Punisher of it all, the Hulk of it all, and, obviously the Peter Parker of it all. So we did a good job. But now, oh boy, let's go. We're going to be talking about it.
We've ordered the banh mi's.
Yeah.
We ordered 5 banh mi's. Do we all have our juicy pants on? And our shark fire energy?
Wow, you're just pulling out all of the...
I'm ready, macaroni friend. I'm ready.
Awesome.
God, too many references off the top.
Yeah, I could see Nate with some juicy track pants, and then he has that G-string thing where it's like it's pulled up a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Is this what you
He's
think about?
rail-tailing?
There we go.
Never heard
Didn't
it
think
described
that's
that.
where we were going to start this
Yeah.
podcast.
No, I honestly
Spoiler
remember
alert.
saying that.
But we do take spoilers very, very seriously. So before we get into anything, this is your final spoiler warning, okay? Because we've literally said the word so many times, or at least I have. From this point on, we're talking about everything in Spider-Man: Brand New Day, every reveal, every surprise, every cameo, and where we think this could all go next. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, this is your chance to hit pause, go see it, and come back. Other than that, you've been warned. Okay, we're going to kick things off talking about the Sadie Sink of it all.
Oh.
All right. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding this movie wasn't just the story, it was Sadie Sink's character. From the moment she was casted, Marvel and Sony refused to say who she was playing. Then the scoops started scooping, if you will. Fans started connecting the dots, and theories were everywhere, and marketing even leaned into it, which I genuinely appreciated. But I will just take a moment here and say I honestly have to give Sadie Sink a ton of credit because she spent the entire press tour being asked questions that she just couldn't answer over and over again.
Yeah.
And somehow she managed to dodge every single one without giving anything away. I don't know how she pulled that off. But like every interviewer was trying to find some way to finagle something in.
Take notes, Tom Holland.
Yeah,
Take
exactly.
notes.
Yeah. Take notes, Mr. Tom Holland. But now we can finally talk about it. Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey. The internet got it right, guys. And honestly, what a reveal. Now, I know there were a lot of theories. Some people thought she'd be Mary Jane, a different version of Mary Jane. Others thought Firestar. That was the one I was referring to from like the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon back in the day. And there were even people convinced she'd be Mayday Parker. But introducing Jean Grey into the MCU through a Spider-Man film, that was not on my bingo card. Even though everyone was telling me it was very likely. Even Nate, Nate was Nating. He was just
Hey,
like,
Thanos was right. Yeah. Thanos was right, and Nate was right.
Well, I'm very happy. I am very happy for Eric Voss because he doesn't have another Mephisto situation on his hands, because he was very certain that this was Jean Grey, and it is, in fact, Jean Grey. So we're going to start there, and I'm going to throw it to you, Darce. What was your reaction the moment you realized she was Jean Grey, and did it work for you?
Well, honestly, the way it was revealed was a bit lackluster. Just reading it on a screen was not the way I envisioned the reveal
Mhm.
of the character to go. So just the name popping up was a bit weird. And aside from the changes, like the drastic changes they made to this character's backstory, I think the performance and what she's bringing to the story is incredible. Again, like Sadie Sink is nailing the character. She understands where this Jean is coming from, at least, and you can understand her motivations. Again, my issues with it do boil down to the fact that this is a very different Jean than we've ever seen before. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited that she got here. I just never thought we'd see it in this movie.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to feel that way, right? Other than just being taken back by her performance, right? Because
Mhm.
she does do a really good job. She's a great actress, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone was very excited to hear that she was joining this film, and I think a lot of it did stem from me, at least, that people were kind of projecting their fan casting onto
Mhm.
Sadie and saying, "Oh, she's got to be Jean Grey. That's the only person that she could be." And the reality is that she is a perfect casting for this character. You know what I mean? She's absolutely perfect for it. But Nate, what was your reaction the moment you realized Jean Grey was in this film? And
Yeah.
did it work for you?
Yeah, yeah, it did and it didn't. I think the mind hopping of it all, the moment we saw that in the trailer, it was like, yeah, and then I think there's a certain level of speculation that can dampen, you know, your experience going into a movie like this, right? Where, you're expecting a bigger reveal, or maybe you're thinking the internet can't possibly be right because they've, like you said, fan casted so much. I thought she was Jean Grey going into this. Then at one point, I thought she was MJ from another universe when she says, you can't keep MJ safe even from herself. I literally wrote, like, she's MJ from another universe. And then at one point, she mentions, closer to the end of the movie, she mentions Sarah, who we later found out is her sister. But I remember leaning over to you, Justin, and confidently saying, Sarah Connors? And now realizing Sarah Connors is from Terminator and
Oh,
not the
wow.
MCU.
I thought you were just
You
being
responded.
sarcastic.
No, you responded as if I was like, yeah, okay, he's on board with me on the Sarah
No,
Connors
I
thing.
was just like, I just
Um,
nodded because I was like trying to watch the movie, and
yeah,
I didn't want you talking to me. So
but I think Jean Elaine Gray is I really enjoyed having her in here. I think from a reveal standpoint, the text on the screen didn't hit, but her saying "I'm Jean Grey" I think would have been a better reveal if we had found a way to maybe keep that till that part of the movie.
well, it was yeah.
But the wiki talks about the fact that she's, like you said, Darcy. She has an older sister named Sarah Gray Bailey. Her father's name is John, and her mother's name is Elaine. And apparently, they are like had a wonderful life growing up, like a wonderful family relationship. And so I think the way that they diverted from that, the way they adapted it, keeping the relationship with her sister, but then using that as motivation to go beyond just being mistreated as a mutant. I think it ultimately worked, but mostly based off of the way that they were able to tie the character into Peter's experiences, and especially when we hit that Aunt May scene, that really, really kind of sealed the deal for me on her being Jean Grey in this film.
I think it sealed the deal for me on why she was in this film. Like not why it needed to be Jean Grey, though, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
her journey of grief and what she was dealing with, and having to come to that moment with Peter where they can kind of sit there and reflect together on what they've lost and what they're left with. I think that was really powerful, but that didn't need to be Jean Grey.
Sure.
It could have been any other character that had telekinetic powers. I don't know. That said, like I said, the internet got it right. Everyone out there was absolutely right. Everyone saw it coming. This turned out to be the thing that everyone was really hoping for. And I think part of me was hoping it might have been someone else. Not because I don't like Jean Grey, just because I just couldn't quite figure out how she fits into this, for a Peter Parker story. I don't think we needed her. And I'm aware that in comic books, like, heroes show up in other hero stories all the time. So on that level, it absolutely makes sense why you would want to put a character from another storyline here. But I don't know if it really worked for me all that much. I just wonder if there might have been a stronger narrative parallel between Peter and another character maybe, or you know what I mean, like that wasn't necessarily Jean Grey. But yeah, like I said, like the film, it makes it about grief and loss and how emotions can consume us. And once I realized that that was sort of the thematic connection that these two characters were sharing, it really clicked for me, like you said, right? But I don't know if the Jean Grey of it all needed to be there. Yeah, there's aspects of it that I think worked for me and didn't work for me, like you were saying, Nate.
But I think and this is maybe wishful thinking, and I might be being a little too apologetic on the decision to have Jean Grey, but I think the fact that it's Jean Grey is, yes, you're right. Could they have picked someone else that might have been able to be a little bit stronger in the connection to Peter Parker, and just kind of go a different route with it? Yes, but I do think it also represents a good opportunity, and I think Punisher, Punisher and Bruce represent the different lessons, or at least this is what I took away, the different lessons for Peter, and all three of them are people who've struggled with asking for help. I think Bruce is there to nudge Peter in the right direction to control his anger when he's going through these changes in his body. And then Frank is there to show Peter that isolation isn't the right choice and what he's been struggling with. And then I found Jean Grey to, especially at the end of the film when they connect and he says, like, we can do this together, and there's that spark there, and to me it feels like a beautiful opportunity for Peter to then help someone who is just as lost as he was, and also someone that isn't just another New Yorker, or it's someone that has powers that he can relate to.
Yeah.
And I love that sentiment, because I think this whole movie is about connections, right? And
Yeah.
as cheesy as
Yeah,
it is,
of
the
course.
web, right?
No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you're saying, and Justin
Yeah.
does too. But what you said, you could replace Jean Grey with literally anybody else and still have that same impactful moment. And when
But
you have
I'm
to
just
change a
wondering if-
character's backstory so much to get her
Yeah.
to this point, to have this anchor and connection to Spider-Man, why are you bringing this character in again? This is a very drastically different Jean Grey than we've seen. Like Marvel Girl, when she first introduced, again, comes from a very loving family where she gets her powers. It's very traumatic, but she manages to move past it, and Professor X helps her and all that stuff. I don't see this Jean Grey with all the rage that the stuff she did is horrific. Jean Grey and any other continuity would never do something like this without the Phoenix Force in her. Again,
Yeah.
that's why it's so weird. The rage in Jean from the comics and all the other properties only happens after the Phoenix. So seeing it before Phoenix, I can't see this Jean being a massive proponent
Sure.
for the human mutant equality. It's just, there's a disconnect there, and it bothers me a bit.
I can appreciate what you're saying, Darcy, because I think from a background of like the origin story and understanding how that Phoenix Force is what's inside of her that does give her that rage, and they've always kind of played with that. I'm okay if they take liberties with altering some of the backstory to make it make sense for this. I wonder if this should have just stayed as a Peter Parker film with the Hulk and Punisher on either side of him to help him learn those lessons. Jean Grey is an interesting character to add here as another third character to give him that perspective on connections. But I also think that Detective Jean DeWolf would have been the better person in that situation than
You
Jean
prefer
Grey.
that Jean to this Jean.
That's where I think
No,
that's
yeah.
where we can kind of like, I think I just feel bad saying this, but I'm going to say it first. Sadie herself is fantastic. She was incredible. She had presence. I'm genuinely excited to see more of Jean Grey because she's so good at acting, and this is just such a huge opportunity for the mutants in the MCU, and it gives us a window into what maybe to expect. But again, it does feel like she might have been shoehorned into this to kind of make it feel like we need to kind of start introducing and planting. Now, I will just say this: if you decide to introduce more X-Men through the same facet of like other stories before we get to a full ensemble, then I guess it kind of follows a continuity of what you're doing. Maybe it's just because it's the first, it doesn't feel like that. But I don't know. Like there was a lot of secrecy around this, and she inevitably is Jean Grey. Why not just I don't know, punch it up? Like, again, the marketing around it, and just lean into it as you got closer to the date, right? You know what I mean? They wanted to like recreate that No Way Home sensation.
I agree with you there. I think the marketing definitely can, again, just the same way that fans can get overhyped about something and speculate in one direction or the other, and that can affect the overall end result. I do agree. I think the marketing side of things, but I think to what you were kind of describing of like the future of the MCU, right? And again, this might be too forgiving, but I do love the idea that there's an opportunity there for Peter to become a professor at Xavier's school, right? And maybe teach
and that's the thing,
and be there for Jean throughout that. And I also think too, from the standpoint of, you mentioned shoehorn. When I think of shoehorn in the MCU, I think of America Chavez. And I definitely don't think that this was an America Chavez situation nearly as bad. Now, to your point, is it does feel like a shoehorn with everything you're describing? Yeah, a little bit more, but I'm hoping for better payoff than what we've gotten from America Chavez. And I also
that's
think
very true.
In the movie, there's better payoff from this character.
100%. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and I do too. And again, it's the shoehorning is not so much the character, because the character works in the story and it serves a purpose. Then that's not being shoehorned at all. It's the fact that it is Jean Grey and sticking that character into this story that I feel like is the shoehorn.
And I think there might have been a better opportunity to bring Jean Grey into another storyline than this one. Maybe. I don't know, right?
I do think, though, the idea of it being a telekinetic, sure, pick another telekinetic if you want, but I love the way
telepathic.
that
they don't really focus on the telekinetic part until the end. That's one of my issues.
I always
with
get my kinetic and my pathic mixed up.
Well, so she's in her early days of her powers, but by the end of it, she's broken the barrier. She's gotten through that.
And I love how her powers are done in this movie.
Yes.
Because the idea of mind hopping, especially through the citizens of New York, right? These are people that, for a large portion of Peter's life, they're there to encourage him, to be the ones to say, thank you, Spider-Man. We love you, Spider-Man. You're the best, Spider-Man. Even that guy on the truck in the back of the ambulance, I would never do this. I love you, Spider-Man. Like, that was amazing. Got a big laugh in our theater. But I think the idea of taking the citizens of New York and the city of New York and turning it into something that was a source of encouragement and gratefulness for Peter into something for him to be afraid of and fear is so cool. And again, just pushing that concept of isolation and staying away and right.
Could have been Jackal.
I don't know. It could have been Jackal. Could have been someone else that's been experimenting.
There are so many telepaths in the Marvel universe.
I'm just saying it was cool. I'm just saying
it was absolutely cool.
It's really cool.
The way her powers, the way she's throwing herself around. Like, it's going to be really cool when we start to see that sort of mature over time. In the X-Men side of stories,
like, she won't need to hop going forward.
No, she won't. That's true. She'll just take over.
Anyone is free game.
Right. That incident with Mary Jane, we missed the body entry, right? So and that was probably purposeful based on editing and timelines and stuff like that. But yeah, I was gonna say her power set, the way her power set looks, so like her moving her body, but like when they created that like force field, it also felt very connected to like what Sue Storm's aesthetic is, right? Hers is definitely a little bit more like denser, like you see more of that
chromatic aberration.
Yeah, like the way the light bends through it and stuff like that. I thought it looked pretty cool, like a bubble that's like really thick, right? And it's really good. Like the other thing too, and maybe this is like a sidebar thing, but the one thing I just kept wondering throughout this movie is just how is Marvel going to explain mutants? Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't the example. Like, but honestly, like Nate, after our conversation, I don't think they need that big of an explanation. The groundwork, as you said, is already there. It's trauma. WandaVision hinted that Wanda's powers aren't created by the Mind Stone, but like they were awakened by the Mind Stone. And the same thing with Ms. Marvel and stuff like that. So, and
Peter goes through a traumatic experience, correct, and is going to a dark place.
They did not call Spider-Man a mutant. He has mutated DNA because of the added stuff, but he is not a mutant or mutating. It's just his powers are changing, so he is not a mutant.
But again, it feels like they've done this for the purpose.
They need to explain
the connect. They wanted to connect though.
Yes. Birth that is awakened by trauma or puberty or just at birth, because that's the three things that way mutants powers can manifest. Is you are blue at birth and look weird because it's a body mutation. You wake up and you're 16 years old and your balls start dropping and all of a sudden, crap, I can read people's minds. Or I witnessed something incredibly traumatic and my life was in danger, and these powers awoke themselves. So
Right.
like they need to explain that as a mutant core, is that it's in the genome and not an added thing like the
Yeah.
gamma for Hulk or the spider for Spider-Man.
For
But
sure.
they
That is
did
my big
heavily
thing.
didn't they heavily imply with that music thing in Miss Marvel that she's a mutant?
Yes, but so that's fine because they don't want to do Inhumans, because they tried Inhumans in the
Right.
TV show
And it
that
was
did not
not
work
good.
very well.
Right.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
they're moving on, and humans
Right.
aren't a thing. She makes better as a mutant. I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
But yeah,
All right.
and I think the reality is that it is something that's in you that gets activated versus
Yes.
something that like for Spider-Man
Is
has
added
been
to
bitten.
you.
It's been
Oh,
added
okay.
to him, right?
Yeah.
So it's something that but you're on the right track. The trauma is what unlocks it, right?
Yes.
Like we've
Yeah.
seen it with
100%.
Deadpool, we've seen it with even Wolverine, his story. The trauma is what unlocks it. So like they don't need to do a lot. You can, I think if you know that enough, they're gonna have to. But I don't know if general audiences. I guess most people have seen
I
X-Men.
think it
They
should
might
be
track
fine.
it.
And then I
They
mean
might track
inhibitor
it.
chips, like
Oh,
inhibitor
well,
chips
the
being
inhibitor-
introduced into this film.
And dude, the
Mhm.
fact that inhibitor chips are made by
I really enjoy
Peter Parker,
really
I
like
enjoy
aspect.
That's
Like I
Yeah,
think that's
sick.
really
I do
cool.
enjoy that.
That I thought was like, if anything, you didn't have to have Jean Grey, but that for me was like, oh, that's cool.
That's a big thing.
He's
'cause, like,
designing
I
their
just-
technology to hold those mutants back.
and
Mhm.
you just see someone like a Bolivar Trask or something
Yeah.
like that existing in this world, being like, I finally have the thing to make what I wanted, and that's where we got our
Yeah.
Sentinels from, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm wondering when we get to Sentinels, like if it's going to be some time before we see them, just because of the fact that we're going to see them in Doom. But yeah, like it's really interesting to have mutants on the table now. In the MCU, it's a lot of fun to have them as a character in this cinematic universe. So I'm really happy that it is Sadie Sink. But I just hope at the same time, like Marvel is just, and it goes back to what you were saying, Darcy, just about like the origins. It's like how Marvel can preserve the history of what makes the X-Men so compelling. Like even like for the biggest thing I think about now is not how they're going to explain mutation, is how they're going to explain Xavier and Magneto's relationship, because that's like foundational to those characters and to like the whole X-Men story, right? So I don't know. I'd like to see I'd like to see how they're going to build more established relationships. So I'm excited that there's no Scott right now. You know what I mean? Like there's no Scott, and we're just focused, like it's just Jean. And
we got time.
Yeah, we got time. And you know, I said this to Nate, I think, but I was like, Storm, I hope Storm is in Black Panther 3. Right?
That would
Like,
be
perfect.
That'd be
That would
like,
be
and I
really
would be,
cool.
and that makes a lot of sense, right? Because there is a history there, right? And
I mean, she
could-
was his wife. She was the queen of Wakanda for a while. So
yeah, but imagine that was like the new T'Challa's wife.
But
was, you know,
but please don't do it in a way that
be
like
cool.
maybe do it in a way that maybe is like this movie, but not in a way that's like Riri Williams, I think, in the last Black Panther movie felt really just sort of pushed in that movie. Not as much as I think America Chavez, but
the
right?
Storm and Black Panther would work better well because they already have such reverence for gods. So like another tribe worshiping
that'd
the
be sick.
Storm goddess would just
that could be cool.
it kind of works with it.
yeah. I wonder too, like what you're kind of outlining is the varying degrees of how having additional characters can either benefit or take away from the story, right? And
Mhm.
I was curious about the Hulk and the Punisher in this. The Punisher really worked really well for me. And the way they drew, the way they just needed to, like, as you said, control the monster, like that parallel between Spidey and Hulk, and have that character there for that purpose. I really like that. Makes a lot of sense, and how you would do that, and just especially in this whole world of superheroing, if you will. But yeah, it's on the table now. Yep.
Yeah. So just talking about the Hulk, one of my big things is because the quote that you opened up with was the one about like how do you decide what is good, and like he said that correct? Like he dropped that to Nate. So you got to think, why is he coming to that realization now after having done the whole Smart Hulk thing where he chose a good part and got rid of a bad part, essentially? Like, is he learned from his mistakes? Like, did something happen before this point that caused this inhibitor thing to be like, I can't be Smart Hulk, I gotta just be Bruce? Any Hulk is too bad type thing. Like, I'm interested in that.
For sure. That is a story for the Hulk that should be explored. But you know, again, Universal still
he doesn't get his own movie.
He doesn't get his own movie, and it sucks.
Well, see that,
but I love that. I love that, Darcy. Like, how sick would it be, even just for like an episode, for a 20-minute thing of Bruce is in a situation where he wants to save someone. there's an opportunity to save someone and he can't
Well-
because he cannot become the Hulk.
Mhm.
Like him as Bruce can't do the thing that the Hulk could do in that moment. I think that would be so cool to explore
So
that.
did you
and
say it's a
it
movie?
would help that.
A movie?
No, I mean as a short, as a one-off, maybe
you know
a
what? I was
special,
just thinking in
special
my head-
presentation.
Special presentation. I think you could do a show with that though. Like there's
Mhm.
enough meat there to actually
Sure.
draw out like
He-Hulk.
what?
Well, they have She-Hulk.
Why would you just call it Hulk? You gotta call it He-Hulk?
See, well, why do we got to call it She-Hulk? You know, I'm just saying.
Alrighty, well, Sadie Sink was the main surprise of this movie. Let's get
Oh,
to
yeah.
another surprise. Not really that big of a surprise because Kevin Feige himself actually teased this before the movie released, and that there would be maybe a new Avenger showing up sooner rather than later. And sure enough, Yelena Belova arrives as a representative of the new Avengers. And I have to say, I wasn't expecting her first scene to involve Peter, a bathhouse, and potatoes. Yeah,
Small
yeah,
potatoes.
exactly, like potatoes.
Small little baby potato.
Yeah.
Listen, if Yelena
Even that's
Belova,
like what we-
if I walked in there
Yeah,
and Yelena Belova just said, "Take your clothes off," I'd say, "Do you want the mask on or off? You can have my little baby potatoes." I'm telling you, like, holy moly! I had no idea where that scene.
she'd
was
probably
gonna go.
kick your ass though, because you're
Probably.
presuming too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. But
Because she knew what she was doing there. She was saying, "Hey, I want to make sure you don't have weapons or any wires or anything like that. So
Sure.
you need to sit down
Yeah.
here. Keep your mask on, sure. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Again,
She also knew about the fan art of Peter and the 12 Mysterios
Yeah.
or 11 Mysterios or however many Mysterios. Yeah. I think her calling herself Macaroni Friend on her Zoom was an awesome little detail because,
It's her
as we
code
know,
name.
she was introduced
yeah, of course.
with the macaroni in Hawkeye. And I love the idea that her and Kate Bishop are probably having conversations on Zoom. And so she called herself Macaroni Friend. Like, it's just, I was so happy to see her.
Right.
The only thing I will say is it does feel like those scenes were like added in.
Yeah,
maybe.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were 100% just like, hey, we're gonna reshoot these, because even the mask scene, it didn't need to be him.
That's
Mhm.
yeah, technically, yeah, could have been some other svelte,
Yeah.
slick looking, muscly guy.
Mhm.
I mean, based off his belly button that I've studied profusely, I think
You
that
are a
actually
fan
makes
of
sense.
belly buttons, though, bro. I've
Dude.
seen you, go.
Innies, outies,
Yeah, dude.
lefties, righties.
Yeah.
I think what I liked about her inclusion, I'm trying to move on past this. Just
Yes,
power
good.
through.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think what I liked about her inclusion in this movie is that it felt very comic book related. Like the way they
Yeah.
just, I need
Yeah.
advice when to go to someone I know.
The
Just,
source,
I
yeah.
happen to have an Avengers number. That's the person I
yeah.
can talk to. And the way that she's like so talking down on it is very street level Spider-Man. So
Mhm.
I love that aspect of it and how it built upon he is on his own in this whole situation. He might know people, but they don't really have the time to help him right now.
Yeah, like she's just there to provide information because he's reached
Yeah.
out, and he's a trusted source or contact. You know what I mean? A trusted hero, if you will. And she does her part, and she kind of says, this is why we're not getting involved in this, because this is small potatoes.
Small
you
potatoes.
you got to deal with, we deal with the big potatoes, so you deal with the small potatoes, right? And I like that, but I also think that it's really interesting because she's calling him out because of this idea of like him keeping his mask on and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The choice to do that, like
Mhm.
I think that breaks a connection, right? That she's trying to connect with him by, yes, doing something that is very disarming. She's trying to encourage him to relax, and
Yeah.
whoever comes
Yeah.
into that room
He needs
to
friends.
relax.
She wants him to
Yeah.
have friends, basically.
Yeah,
So
and
she can see he's
she's a sad,
lonely
you
man.
sad, lonely man. Ah, you have friends.
Jean DeWolf, by the end of the movie, she got to relax, right?
Mhm.
Said her
Mhm.
skin feels amazing
Why'd you
after
say
having
it
a
like
meeting
that?
with. What? I
Oh.
just, you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
she got
sorry,
to
yeah.
relax. Her skin feels amazing.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that the way she was put in here for like what? 2 scenes?
Two, maybe 3 scenes if you include
Like
over
totaling
camera.
less than 10 minutes? Like
Yeah.
definitely
think
under
so.
10 minutes, right?
Mhm.
So, cuz like I don't know how long that bath scene was, but yeah, I think having her in here at least is just, it creates a continuity of awareness, and we'll show it. That's okay. Do you know what I mean? But like introducing a Omega level mutant in a Spidey film just feels like I'm you know, I don't know
It's
if we
taken away
should
from the
have done that.
Spidey of it all.
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to focus on the Spidey. It is nice though, like you said, Nate, that he is able to help her in the way that he
Yeah.
does, and that's important. But when you were describing that, you didn't like you just described what the circumstances of the thing. It's not Jean does. It proves the point that Jean doesn't need to necessarily be that.
No,
character.
but in future films, when we see how they
If
make
this
a
is where she
comment
gets
about
the
this
empath
moment,
power from, like, 'cause
right?
she
Like,
is known to be an empath. So.
and again,
Yeah.
that's me as a fan with wishful thinking, and I understand that
Oh,
that's
that's
not a
interesting.
solid
Yeah.
critique,
No.
but that's just an element to me going, hey, you know what? In the future, this really could pay off, and that's
Oh, yeah.
that's coming from like a scorned Star Wars fan, right? Who has had to do that many. Don't worry, guys. It'll all make sense how Palpatine returned. Don't worry, it's gonna be great. Like that's where I'm coming from with this. So I understand. I think their criticisms are valid though.
Yeah, and again, I'm hopefully I will be eating my words in a few years when they do a great job of explaining why this gene is so different and explain why the X-Men.
You might not have to wait long though. You might not have to
I'll
wait
be
long.
okay with that. Well, I'm not sure if we're going to get the backstory or the explanation right away in the first one. If we're going to be focusing on all the other kids, like
I think Secret Wars is the explanation.
The
Interesting.
Yeah, like I think
Explanation.
that's the explanation of what's happening right now with a incursion, if you will. Things are slowly bleeding, right? And I think these are the elements that are coming through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we don't know what the time displacement.
I mean, the bleeding might not be a thing that we see in incursions though, because we've kind of seen what incursions look like in multiverse.
Right. But
and
maybe like I wonder if there is like if they're gonna say that it's like it's not so instantaneous, it's been happening. It's just now it's getting like really pulled together, causing full on like tearing between these universes, right? Like the process has already begun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's already been happening, and now it's at a point of acceleration where it's like it's coming down to it. No one knew about it. You know what I mean? Until now. So I don't know. I don't know if I really know what I'm talking about when it comes to that whole situation. So, but yes, Yelena, welcome addition. See, we talk about Florence Pugh, and then we're now we shifted back to Sadie. It's the mutants of it all. I guess it worked. Okay,
yeah,
we're gonna talk about favorite moments now. Okay. And there are honestly like a lot of favorite.
There's a lot of favorite moments.
Yeah.
I wrote down way too many. I'm sorry.
So what we're going to do is to
no.
control this whole situation, and this probably will be most specifically to Nate. If someone else takes it, just move to the next one. Okay. So we're only going to do 2 just to keep this on track. Okay. Only 2. So, and it's going to go do round table. Okay. And you know what, Nate? I know you got something. So just take a moment, look there, pick that first one because it's coming to you, buddy. What was one of your favorite moments from Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Oh, it's so tough.
Oh, and I'll even preface that it doesn't need to be like a fight sequence. It could be story moments. It could be a mix of, of those things. Just what stood out to you and what left an impression on you when you walked out of the theater.
All right, deal. I'll start with the one that I definitely want to talk about. I think the action in this movie is incredible. The action in this movie is phenomenal. The fact that they got the Jackie Chan stunt team up in here to do stuff with the hand and all this stuff is so sick. Jackie Chan visited set and was like, "Tom, I'm so stoked that you do your own stunts and everything like that." That's not an exact quote, but like a direct quote, but that's something he said apparently. But no, I think for all the action scenes, and I will probably talk about one if it doesn't get talked about for my second favorite moment, but I think the scene that really hit me has to be it's a tie. It's the Tom and Zendaya, the Peter and MJ behind the curtain moment really hit for me. The fact that she doesn't know him, and yet that chemistry is so palpable in that sequence, and that is only tied with Ned and Peter building Legos and building the X-Wing and just being buds and ordering banh mi's. And the fact that like I literally in that scene could have stayed in that scene for an entire afternoon and I would have absolutely adored my time with it. Like just to see them as friends again felt so phenomenal. And it's crazy because it hasn't really, like, technically I don't think it's been that long for Peter. I guess it's been what? Has
5
it been
years?
It's been 5 years? And how long has it been for us?
If Ned and MJ have time to go to
5
MIT
years.
and graduate, it's been 5 years.
Holy. Okay, so then yeah, but the fact that it's been 5 years and it feels like we're right back to just being best friends again was so great. And yeah, I loved it. I love that Ned didn't remember who Peter was, but loves Spider-Man and therefore loves Peter. And it was gorgeous. It was so well done.
Yeah. So those are your two then.
That's my one. It's my first one.
I mean, you gave two.
You gave two, though.
So you just
I said two.
So
no. There's no tie situation. Those are your two.
If you have two options, you go with one and two.
Leave it to us then to talk about the other things that you were going to talk about, and then you can talk about them as well. But those moments are the best moments. You're absolutely right, because they symbolize. They give the connectivity that you were talking about. It feels so intentional to kind of show that there's all this time has passed. It's that sentiment, right? You haven't seen friends for a really long time. So much time has passed, and then you see them, and it's like nothing.
No time has passed at all.
Time melts away.
Past all. And even with this spell that's spacing them apart at this moment, like it's still there. That sparkle, if you will, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I loved the to kind of piggyback off of your Lego scene. I liked the end. And I like that the handshake at the end when it comes through. Good. And to me, when Peter goes for like that high five and Ned just like instantly starts, it starts turning into their handshake. I thought it was such a beautiful way to end the film, because it's the one missing thing he didn't have, that he hadn't kind of like dealt with. This is like getting his best friend
back.
Like it was really cool, right? So there's no big speech or like just like some sort of dramatic reveal. It's just like a subtle moment where it feels like their friendship is beginning again. And so it's just everything that Peter lost since like No Way Home. It's seeing those connections, like you said, slowly come back, and it just gave me so much hope for what's next. Like, it is a brand new day, right? It's fully embracing that title, and I'm stoked to see that. So yeah, I love that they end the movie with that.
Yeah. That's up there with one of my favorite parts. I'm glad you talked about it, because now I don't have to.
Yeah.
My favorite part is at the top of the movie, or one of my favorite parts is the way it starts off, where we're getting caught up on those 4 or 5 years of Peter being the street level friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the bright blue suit. And the way they recreate all those classic comic covers with all the villains just popping up once or twice, and we get the Amazing Fantasy one. Like, it's just such a little smorgasbord and so many references smashed together in that like little montage of 5 minutes, and I loved every second of it. It was so cool. And again, building on that wicked action scene, we get some of the hand in there too, and just some of the choreography that leads into this poses. It just seems so goofy, but hit so hard for me. I loved it.
Yeah, because it made it feel like a comic book without feeling cheesy. It's obviously giving us nostalgic vibes for comic covers and like splash pages and some of those instances, like that one shot when Scorpion like actually like it looks like he just goes like with his tail,
uppercuts him,
and then and it freezes. That execution from fast to slow, like from real speed to like super slow-mo, was perfection. The one I was really hoping would land so much better was the iconic like swing when he's holding the guy. For me, like
Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah, and I wanted to see that one, like he's like he runs and he jumps with the guy and it's like and then it's like it just slows and it feels natural, but it just felt like an interstitial cut. Like here's a splash page. Some of them felt so reminiscent.
I loved the web swinging one where he's just like posing in the air with the web loose around him. It was just, wicked. I love it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked those. The other moment I had was a fight sequence. I loved the prison finale, especially like just like that, like the fact that Peter's fighting the hand in hand-to-hand combat. It like it's a bookend, if you will. It just all works really really well together in the sense of just how well it's done and how well choreographed in it. And like you said, in those moments where we are seeing like those nostalgic moments, here's where we get to see some of the new moments like that are very comic booky and stylized in that way for this version of Peter Parker, right? And I loved that like using that stylistic technique and drawing in the past of like what those iconic moments from Spider-Man makes this be like, well, here's another cool comic book one where it's like you know what I mean,
the web scene where he webs everybody up,
dude,
and pulls
and then
down.
oh my God, man.
Awesome.
The science of it.
And just the way he knew instinctively to start spinning the hands together to make it spray out from every direction. Oh yeah, that was awesome.
The choreography was fantastic. Every punch that landed was incredible. The kicks,
It's like
the
Crouching
flips.
Tiger,
Hidden Dragon.
at
Yeah,
one point.
100%. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So sick.
Yeah, it felt really, really, really
Dude,
good. And
the blade catch, he did the blade catch with
Yes.
webs.
And
Fucking
breaking it?
awesome.
yeah. Oh, and that
yeah.
line delivery, like it felt a little cheesy, but it was like,
Oh, it
I'm like,
hit,
okay,
man.
yeah, it hit. It hit.
Oh, yeah.
It hit. It definitely hit because of that, of like his eyes like swelling like that, like they fill with black, and then it's like, I could be both, and then it disappears as he starts to like finally in the moment. He's embracing the traumatic moment.
He realized he was different and needed to embrace it, like you said. Like
Exactly.
he was pushing and blocking
Yeah.
off parts. He couldn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Yeah, so that was one of the fight sequences. I know there was obviously the other one with the Hulk, which was good, but like
Yep.
I don't know if that's
Well,
if that was one.
Actually, one of my favorite moments comes from the end of that. I mean, it was as cool as it was to see the Hulk, probably the biggest we've ever seen him. Like,
Yeah,
this
he
is
was
a Hulk that has been
huge, eh?
balled up for so long that
Yeah.
who knows what chaos he would have gotten up to if Spidey hadn't calmed him down. And one of my favorite things about like the original in the comics, when Spidey gets Doctor Strange to erase everybody's memory, one of the only people who remembers who Spider-Man is the Hulk, because at the time of the spell or whatever, Banner was the one who was in control. So Hulk wasn't on this plane and therefore wasn't affected by the spell. So whenever he transformed, he always remembered Spidey was a friend and I can't hurt him. So to see him again wake up and have that realization that Spidey is a friend, and then just instead of letting the rage take him, he just lets go. I love it. I can't wait to see how that evolves. Again, seeing Hulk as an actual character again is so exciting for me.
And the idea that like the fact that we can say the sentence Spider-Man and the Punisher fighting the Hulk
Yes.
is something
Okay.
that if you told me back in the Toby days,
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're insane. There's no way that'll ever happen. And now we get this, it is such a comic book thing. Like, and I think that's some of a lot of the praise that I've heard about this film entirely is how comic book it is.
Mhm.
And that's always a good thing when we're talking about a comic book story
Yeah.
hero. But yeah, the fact that like Peter dragging Frank along the ground as he's
As Hulk
shooting
sleeping over.
up,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Yeah.
what a moment. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm with you though, Darcy. Like I think that moment when he says, "Please, Dr. Banner, it's Peter." You can actually see something click, right? Like
Mhm.
Bruce starts to kind of come back in that consciousness of the Hulk. Do you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like to your point. So it completely changed the tone of the moment, and after all of that sort of like that back and forth bashing, like it was crazy. And like I like the color tone too. Like I think it was like a green gray, not like a
they
gray.
they didn't go full gray, which is what I was hoping. I would love to see Savage Hulk really come out here, but again, the lean into it is really showing how far gone Bruce is in this moment. It's the hulkiest Hulk we've seen to date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more, and Justin, you're going to want to talk about it. I'll let you talk about it a little bit more, I promise you. But I have to mention the turn. I have to mention the moment, the MJ moment of, Peter runs to her, saves her, quote unquote, takes her to, they're on the roof, and it's beautiful. And there's this embrace that they have. And then it quickly just starts becoming heartbreaking. And what a phenomenal performance from both Tom and Zendaya in that moment. And, I thought that I had noticed the turn earlier and was proud of that. But Justin, I know you and I were talking, you had noticed it even earlier.
Yeah, I noticed it right when like they were swinging, because I had just done a rewatch of them all, and in Far From Home, he once they come back from their European trip, he takes her out and they go swinging, and she's just freaking out, right? And I'm like,
She's terrified.
I'm like,
yeah.
she's absolutely terrified. I'm like, so like something feels different here, right? So
Yeah.
but yeah, like I think it that's the moment that I realized it was like she's not MJ.
Yeah, no, it
So
took me
good.
longer. It was the kiss apparently working. I'm like, no, this is too easy, and apparently. Too
I think
late,
that I think if you didn't catch it between then and the kiss, right? Then the kiss was
Yeah.
supposed to be like the kind of like, all right, they're gonna know something's up now.
True
Yeah.
love's
Yeah.
kiss.
Yeah.
if you buy this,
exactly.
then you're in for.
Then you're
roller
in for like
coaster, basically.
If someone gasps, it's not her. Oh my god, I was so happy.
Well, I'm gonna try and
I
sit next
was
to my
so
mom when I go
happy.
see it with her, because she is a gasping type. So
Hell yeah.
Oh, gosh, gaspers. I do want to talk though, like I think we've talked about what happened in the movie. We've shared a few of our favorite moments, but now let's talk about where it's all going next. Because I think Spider-Man: Brand New Day kind of leaves us with various little breadcrumbs that are clearly setting up for things like obviously the MCU, Peter Parker's future. So I'm interested to kind of talk about it. We'll start with Jean Grey though, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's probably the easiest where she's going, at least.
Yeah, let's start with the biggest one. We get to see her driving off towards the end there, as I guess
she's in a bus being driven off.
Yeah, sorry, she's being driven off on a bus. She's gotten on like a Greyhound or something like that, and she's clearly going to upstate New York. Like I'm looking, I'm like, where's that damn mansion?
I'm gonna see. I know it's that building. I know the school, exactly. The mansion somewhere.
I know, but like she doesn't know where she's going. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, and the thing is to even show that vast shot and to show this bus, it's like, well, where are they? You know what I mean? Like, I want to know how this, if there's a school, if it does exist, how has it been there? Or if it doesn't exist and it's like, it's something that hasn't been created yet, then how is she going to connect with Charles? Right? Because maybe Charles is the next person she's going to connect with.
Yeah. So actually I had a slightly different thing, or not, maybe if it's not the school in Charles that she's going to, she's heading north of New York. What's north of New York? The Great White North, Canada. So I think it'd be really cool if, as opposed to doing a romantic relationship between a Logan and a Jean, do a Jubilee style thing where she flees off, like goes north and finds this person she can't get into his head because the metal keeps him out. If like, because that is a canon property of the adamantium. So it'd be cool to introduce Logan and Jean in that way and be like almost a father-daughter relationship this time around. Be something different than the undying love that we always see. So I think that'd be really cool either way. And she's going towards a mutant, just which mutant I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's the one thing to take away. But it was just like, it's just like her in a
she's just driving off
in a bus, and then it's just like, here's some trees. She's going somewhere, guys. Like,
I think trees equal upstate New York.
No,
I all know this.
That's exactly what I said. You know what I mean? I know,
but I mean, like, just in terms of like it being the school, I think a lot of people are seeing what's going on in the Doomsday trailer, and it might be confusing, but like that's a different universe, right? Like that's the Fox.
We're at a
universe,
different timeline, right?
Or a different time. Maybe it's in the future. Maybe it's who knows, right? But I think the idea of her going to a school and maybe meeting a classmate, maybe a classmate named Miles Morales, who has decided to go to school there. I don't know. I think that could work. I mean, here's the thing. Does it sound obvious and stupid? Yes. But is it obvious that she was Jean Grey in this movie at the when we first saw the trailer?
Apparently.
Yes. So I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that.
No, I don't think Miles is the person that she would see, though. Like, I think the person that she would see is Charles. Like, if she goes to some school and Charles is already there as a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. And senses and opens himself up to Jean, and that's how they form that relationship, because he is because he is the one that helps her along the way, and she's one of the first X-Men, right? To be a part of the team. So
she is part of the first class.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it makes a lot of sense that it is Charles that she's going to see next, right?
Or she finds her sister, Sarah, still alive. And then
I'd hate
that results in Sarah dying. And that's where we get Phoenix.
Or Sarah Connors comes to Jean and says, if you want to live, get out
with
of
me.
This thing.
And they go to the future, and that's how they end up in Secret Wars.
And then they meet Cable, and then she understands that she has a whole son. Like you've written another masterpiece, my friend.
Yeah. I don't know why you're not hired yet. It's by now you'd have been 100 top like 5 or 5
for real.
Well, I don't think Miles Morales will be popping up in the MCU anytime soon. I feel like they're going to let him stand. Oh yeah, they're going to let him be the animated Spider-Man for the time being, and have Tom Holland be live action. And when Tom Holland decides he's done being Spider-Man, that's when they kill him off and bring in a Miles Morales. Do the actual storyline that brings Miles into the thing is
to be a mentor, to actually we haven't seen that, right? Like we haven't seen that. So I said, like, if it replicated the game where Tom Holland's Peter Parker has to work with another Spider-Man or a Spider Person, and towards the end of that realizes that he's competing with what he needs to let go with and what he needs to keep keep a hold of, which is MJ, and he, you know, makes the transition and says, Miles, this is your city now. You're Spider-Man. You know what I mean? And like
Well,
that would be
hopefully, I ideally he doesn't get the chance to say it in my storyline. Peter needs to die for Spider or for Miles to rise. Truly, that's how it
Really?
works in the books. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the origin, it's the death of Spider Peter Parker that inspires Miles to become the true Spider-Man that he is. So, I mean, I'd like a blend of the game and the
you know what? Then I love
movie.
I love the animated movies, Miles, so much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because how are you gonna kill? How are you gonna kill?
Well, he
Tom
did.
Holland's
Peter
Peter
died in that one too. That's you got to think in Miles' story. His Peter dies.
Yeah.
And then he becomes like other Peters come to teach him. That's the whole thing is. But most Miles start off as their Peter dying. Maybe
another Peter can die, not this one, not Tom.
So okay, so are we saying then that like that whole storyline then with the animated isn't? It's like that's its own fresh
separate.
take.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the difference.
Oh, then I love that.
Its own fresh take because there's a lot of Peters coming and talking and mentoring him. But usually it's just the Spider-Man's friends and family are the ones who mentor Miles Morales.
Oh, so they told a multiversal story with Miles Morales, right? Like they didn't just tell like his origin story. They told like a multiversal origin story, right? So
in the animated stuff, yes, but in
the
comics,
animated stuff. That's what I mean. Sorry, just for clarity, for the animated movies, they chose to tell like his origin story through the lens of
the multiverse
story.
Yes,
that's interesting.
Yes, to give him a Peter
love those
to talk
movies.
To,
they did it so well. They got the multiverse right. They got origin stories right.
Oh yeah,
and they just have the look and feel. Like they got everything. Nate, you've had your hand up. I apologize, dude.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to bring up the Trammell Tillman of it all, the Metzger of it all.
Yes, that's the next.
I think that was one thing that we, kind of. I think we can all agree on. You brought up Trask and I think William Metzger, especially the whole idea of the DODC, like taking the technology from the people around them, the villains around them, and the idea of the inhibitor chip. That 100%, we're going to agree that Trammell Tillman is going to get a better villain role in a future film, probably an X-Men film, than 100%, than he did in this movie.
Yeah, he's either going to be like leading like a Friends of Humanity or something along those lines, but
that's what I was thinking.
Will be
sick.
Either like Trask's #1 henchman or something like that. But
he's just working with
Trask
to
go forward. Oh yeah,
I think
something
like they're on the same thing because like even like in and I'm going off of the '97 show in my mind mentally because it's the most like recent thing that we're going through in terms of X-Men. But to see how in some instances there was a few people that played a part in helping to bring forward like Sentinels and anti-mutant technology, if you will. I think it makes a lot of sense that his character would show up again as like a counterpart to hopefully a Trask, or he is the threat. He's definitely going to show up. And the 100%. Fact that they made mention to the fact that like Bill Metzger's gone, but we were able to find all this information. I'm like, okay, so off in the wind. Okay, so I want to talk about Bruce Banner real quick, because like he just like fell from the building and like I guess crashed into the rubble as the Hulk, and then like was wheeled off in an ambulance. Where do we think he's going to show up?
He's dead.
He's not dead. He was like he kept asking if he hurt people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it shows how he was locked in the back of the mind again. I wouldn't be surprised if he is by his own choice going into some sort of containment now that like again we heard him say something broke. She broke something. Like I don't think we'll ever see him be in control of this transformation at least for some time now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's like voluntarily putting himself into isolation to be like I got to figure shit out.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna go with he teams up with Metzger. He teams up with Metzger to develop the thing that can completely remove the Hulk from him. I think that
then you could go the Amadeus Cho route too. That'd
right.
Cool.
I think that could be really neat in the sense that maybe he's and Peter's completely against it, and then we start getting into this idea of like, so he helps because obviously Metzger might have some semblance of the inhibitor chip from his time here in this movie, but the idea that like no, but you actually had one on you, the science behind this, or he could figure the science, have him sort of develop it.
Yeah, so basically cool. to take Peter's tech to the next level, with whatever knowledge, because he like in that moment that Peter's sharing what could be done, even Bruce is like, actually, wait a minute, that's pretty interesting. I think this sounds like a really great sequel for this film. in a lot of ways to carry over some of the characters and the fallout from the events of this film into a sequel, to have Metzger come back. He's getting deeper into his shit, just to reveal that the Hulk or Bruce Banner is working with him because he is so broken from whatever happened in that moment with Jean. I think that's really compelling. And now Peter has to be like there for him. I don't know, maybe you're retreading, but on some.
But imagine Jean, because when we went into Peter's head, we got to see a moment that obviously was very impactful for him, but also the fact that it's like his deepest failure, right, is the loss of his aunt. And so I wonder if it was like, while she was inside of the Hulk's mind, she was in there with Bruce and just being like, look at all the stuff you did in Sokovia. Look at all the people that have suffered because of you. And maybe just like really that dark element of her.
Yeah, she unraveled all of his post-traumatic.
Right. And so when he says she broke something, right, maybe it's something so deep in him that it really, really triggers.
And that's why he wants to make these collars. You know what I mean?
And like, I understand they've done this before with the Hulk. Like, I do understand that even in the MCU, they have explored this a little bit. But I love the idea that now that we've got this sort of potential forever fix that is a good thing for him, but a horrible thing for all mutants, could be really neat.
Yeah.
We need if they go that route, because again, when they did that in the comics, when he completely cures himself, the Hulk just goes somewhere else and it hops into Amadeus Cho, who takes on all the radiation, basically. So it'd be cool to go that route where we could get a different Hulk, but it could also be cool to go another route where he's made peace with the Hulk in the comics and they cohabitate well, where like the Hulk can actually take orders and won't just smash stuff.
See, that's why he needs his own show. I feel like he needs his own show to get to that point.
A lot more than just popping up in movies. I
know
that is I think what it boils down to.
Well said, Darcy. That's 2-0.
What a great way to have Peter help teach Bruce this lesson.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, we talked about this, and then we go all the way to the end
of
that.
Whoa. Yeah. Did we just write the sequel?
Hey, you guys said I was a terrible writer, so I don't know, man.
You have some good ideas. You just always take them
you have great
way
ideas.
Too far.
Yeah, you just don't know when to stop.
Way too far.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Frank, the Punisher. You know, by the end of this movie, Peter and Frank have, like, their relationship is fundamentally changed, right? Like, he shot Peter. He's basically by his bedside in the hospital all that time, and then he's dressing up as him and be like in the window as Spider-Man.
So what a great moment! Yeah,
his
like is so good.
Where does Frank go from here? Right, like, especially even given the fact that, like, the thing that we didn't talk about in the spoiler free is how well his character's journey from that short actually makes sense, because saving that family gave him a sense of purpose in that short, and here having almost a connection with someone who's in it with him gave him a deeper sort of understanding. Because even if you look at how he has a relationship with Matt or the Daredevil, it's really just business. But yeah, I think that the relationship that he has with Peter really does change. It gives him a more empathy, understanding that he has something to fight for. Does that make sense? Because he thinks he has nothing to fight for.
Yeah, and I think that the coming off of One Last Kill, it doesn't feel like that we saw enough of a transition between that Punisher and this Punisher. Like, I don't love in my visual storytelling when we're told something happened rather than getting to actually see it happen. I think the way that the chemistry that John Bernthal and Tom Holland have throughout this movie, and by the end of this film, and like we talked about the hospital scene, all of that just completely made those criticisms melt away for me, in the sense that, like, by the end of it, I was totally on board.
Yeah,
100%.
You were saying that in this movie.
But the idea of like we had that one thing where I saved your ass or
Staten
whatever.
Island?
It's like, yeah, Staten Island. I'm like that's cute and all, but I think I would have liked to have seen that. But I get it. In the movie world,
moment,
we
though.
don't really have time.
But it's a Budapest, right? Like, it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and then we did get to see Budapest, so maybe we will get to see. And it is Budapest. I almost said Budapest.
Budapest.
Yeah.
You got a Budapest.
There's these people have lives outside the movies, and it's okay to we don't see everything. I'm okay.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
that.
No, I know.
Yeah. And
the fact
I
that
like that they've met before, though. I do like.
Yes, that's really
Yeah.
cool, and it makes sense. Again, they both work in New York, and they're both street level, dealing with gangs and robberies and stuff like that. So I love that. What I think is really cool for Frank in this is the fact that, again, 5 years, who knows how long has passed between One Last Kill and now. Like he could have
True.
been in New York on the ground, just really warming up and trying to become, again, like a person. He's trying to, he's kind of got his vengeance and still is going out there trying to make the city better, but he's got to have something to do for himself to live for. And I mean, having a friend is really cool. So I like that. I'm looking forward to seeing how much teamwork will start going forward, because he clearly sees that there is an advantage. Oops. He clearly sees that there's an advantage to teamwork at times now after his working with
Absolutely.
Spider-Man in this film. So
Yeah.
the team ups that we can get in the future where he's actually willing to cooperate, I think could be really cool.
Yeah, and that's what, going back to again what we've been kind of talking about with connections and stuff like that. Like the fact that Peter's learning from him that isolation isn't the proper mental state for anyone, and that the Punisher or Frank is seeing that, hey, maybe I should be more open to letting someone in and not closing myself off. It has that sort of effect. Again, it was a perfect pairing of those stories, right? And it helped that they already had a history and so on and so forth.
Matt Murdock's out there like, yeah, you seem different. You seem different, Frank.
You seem like you really get along with him.
Well, Red, I met this young guy. Let me tell you something, Red. I met this guy. His name's Spider-Man. Shoot.
I don't think he told him his name though, right? Like he didn't tell him his name, did he?
I
think he knows him as Pete by the end of it. I'm pretty sure.
Because how does the hospital know who he is? I bet you the Punisher was protecting his his secret.
I'm pretty sure he like, again, if the Punisher's there, I'm not asking questions about the patient behind the Punisher. I don't want to be shot in the head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's probably like, yeah, you don't want to ask me about that kid. You don't want to ask.
Flash the gun. See the
skull.
Exactly.
Like, you see the skull?
Don't.
Let me tell you something, okay?
Let me tell you something, Red.
Let me tell
I
you
also
something,
think too, sorry, Frank, but now you really owe Peter after what you just did. Like now you really stepped in.
I don't know, him dancing around in Spider-Man is in the Spider-Man mask in the hospital room. That's a small start. Thank you.
Yeah, for shooting someone.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that moment in the hospital room. I think it really it's this small moment where he can just be like, I'm gonna make an ass out of myself and do it for this kid because I feel bad, but he also
shot the kid.
Yeah. Yeah, he shot the kid, right? So well then, let's talk about Peter's brand new day. This is where this movie all just starts to make sense. And it makes sense what he said. It doesn't, his brand new day doesn't make sense until the end of the movie. And that's where it is, because it's a brand new day for Peter Parker. So like, I guess then the question is, what does a brand new day actually look like for Peter Parker after all of this? Nate, start with you.
Well, he enjoys banh mi's. He tries those juicy pants back on. No, I think I think it's interesting because we kind of got into this a little bit afterwards about the idea of is the mask as important now, given everything that's happened? I really like the idea that, especially in that climax, he goes, I'm both. Peter Parker or Spider-Man, I'm both. And I think this whole thing came about the idea of needing to reveal his identity to keep his friends safe and just, the entire deal that he made with Doctor Strange. I just think going forward, I think Peter Parker is Spider-Man publicly. I think he's New York's hero, and I just think that he's going to be both. I think that would be really cool if we can just sort of give up the idea of the mask.
But that's, I think like I don't like, you were saying this in the car, and I was just like, I didn't fully understand what you were meaning by this, because I feel like this isn't about him like just feeling like, well, I could just go mask off like
he's not Iron Man.
Yeah, he recognizes that he still has to protect the people around him, but he doesn't have to be afraid of becoming too much of a spider or losing, having to choose from, as I said at the top here, I will go back to my quote. How would you decide what parts of nature are good or bad? And I feel like that's very much what this is talking about. Is like, he wants to be just Peter Parker at times, but like, he's been so obsessed with being Spider-Man because there's no point in Peter Parker anymore, right? Like, he's given up.
He saw Peter Parker as a weakness, because Peter Parker has family. Family is an exploitation that could be a weakness in the future, and that like, he doesn't want that to happen to people he's connected to or himself. So he was shunning the Peter Parker part of it all. So.
And to your point, Punisher or Frank helps to show what isolation looks like, and he doesn't want that. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And he recognizes that he doesn't have to pick between being Spider-Man or being Peter Parker. He can be both, right? And like,
Mhm.
I feel like he's still gonna, you know, that it was more of an internal thing than it was a physical thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're saying, like he just doesn't need to wear the mask and he can just be Peter Parker.
He can wear the mask because I think the mask is part of the symbol of being Spider-Man.
Yes.
I just don't think he needs to hide his identity.
I think
anymore.
100% he does still.
I don't
though,
think he does.
because
Yeah, I
it
think
is
he
still a
does.
weakness. It is still something
Yeah.
that could be exploited. I mean, we've seen that in countless superhero stories. It's a known thing. Plus, he isn't again. He's not a
It's superhero 101, man.
He's not a
Come on.
Tony Stark. He doesn't
Yeah.
have millions of dollars to protect the people he cares about. He
Mhm.
is on his own, a street level hero, and is trying to scrape by because
Yeah.
again, he doesn't make money doing the hero thing.
Mhm.
He makes money with these odd jobs or stuff he's doing on the side. So like, he doesn't have the he can't just go out being like I am this person because that is still a huge weakness that could be exploited if people
Mhm.
know who he's
We'll
close
see.
to.
We'll
But
see.
what do you mean
I
we'll see?
disagree, but we'll see.
Villains are going to go after the people who he's close to, and he doesn't have that support group. Again, you keep thinking that he
I think
is
it'll
going
be
to be this,
Professor Parker.
he's not going to
has
be
web
an ultimate.
abilities.
He's not a power. He's a
Yeah.
street level hero. He
I
got to
think
be.
he'll be
You
fine.
got to be hidden. He's got to be hidden. Also, in
yeah.
the comics, as soon as he took his mask off, horrible mistake.
Horrible things
put it back
happened, and
on,
he
never
went
did it again.
and that's why he initially did the spell, was
Yeah.
to get a thing. So this
and
is
he
what
learned
he's done.
from that. Yeah.
And he's learned from it. He
People
thought it would
still
be
know
a
who
problem.
Peter Parker is in Spider-Man, but it's not.
And it's not just
everybody.
villains. It's not just
Yeah.
villains, man. You got annoying people that are going to know, oh, Spider-Man's Peter Parker.
New
You know
York
what I
might
mean?
love him
Like-
by the end of this movie because he saved them, but New
Yeah.
York famously hates Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Like it is always a
Uh,
war against Spider-Man.
I guess
in that
you're right,
city.
but you know, we didn't even talk about this, but like there no J. Jonah to instigate that
Mhm.
hate. Do you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
really weird to not have at least a
That's
moment
why
of J.
it
Jonah.
was the weirdest feeling in New York in that regard, seeing everybody cheering for Spider-Man when usually it's only a handful of New York. Like this seems
Mhm.
like all of New York loves Spider-Man, which is
Mhm.
very rare.
I
Mhm.
loved it.
Yeah.
I was okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm happy that they love him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it makes sense. The reason why it makes sense though, Darce, I think for me at least, is just to give him the strength of knowing that he can.
He's
be
not
both.
alone.
Yes.
And that he's
okay.
not
Again,
alone.
yes, I totally agree. He's not alone, but that's not going to stop him from trying to protect the people he cares about. And one of the ways
sure.
he can do that is to hide who Peter
I
Parker
agree with you
is.
there, though. I agree with you
Like,
there.
that
I don't know
connection
why.
needs to stay separate. I don't know why Nate thinks any villain or like again normal like stalkers in New York. They're a thing. Stalkers are everywhere. People would try and track him down.
You've
and
been
be
stalked,
constantly
Nate.
bugging
Come
him.
on.
Like
You know.
there's already
Don't
an
give your
app
number to
tracking his
little-
location. Do you think he really wants to reveal Spider-Man is also me? Come visit me at my apartment. Like
Yeah.
We'll see.
I feel like I do feel like it was more of an what you're talking about, Nate, is more of like an internal representation that happens for the character. That
it was
he
an
has to
internal
live with both.
realization, not a
And the
not a-
fact that he's on the phone with Detective Jean DeWolf, and he's like, hey, yeah, I can come. My back's okay, and I can come and help out. And she's like, no, we got this. Chill.
and then he
and he's like,
remembers
you
your
know
kids'
what?
names now.
I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go live my life. That's what
Have a few banh mi's and put on some juicy
That's
pants.
what I'm
I was
saying.
right.
Exactly. That's the way you started it.
But what is his brand new day, Darcy?
Again, he's just happy being who he is. He's accepted who he is. Yeah, his brand new ace. He has best friend back. He has a friend in MJ. They might. Who knows where that's
Oh, yeah,
going?
yeah.
Again, the undeniable chemistry there. But like, he has a friend in Punisher. He has a friend in Jean. Like, he has friends.
He has
now.
a
This is the
support
whole
system
thing.
now. He has
Peter
a support
Parker
system.
is a person again, not just a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That's well said. I do agree with that. All right, let's get to the post-credit scene. There was no mid-credit scene, but there was a post-credit scene, so that happens after the credits. So yeah, for the post-credit scene, we get the Spidey tracker app, if you will, showing up on screen, which had its moment throughout the movie, and it was really, really cool. It's searching for Spider-Man, comes up empty in New York, and the camera just zooms out on the tracker, and now we're seeing Earth, and then it pans away from Earth, and it sort of drifts into space. And I know we have Doomsday. I know we have Secret Wars, which I think is where he's going to show up next.
Yeah.
In a sort of larger capacity, or at least maybe even at the end of Doomsday. I don't know. We'll see. Well, that's my question, really. Actually, what are they teasing, guys? I need to know. Darcy, let's start with you because I know you might have some good theories here.
Oh, so I've got one theory that's probably not the case at all. but I like it because it's fun, and it's the idea that this might be a cosmic Spider-Man, which is
Mhm.
another version of Spider-Man who gets imbued with the Enigma Force and becomes Captain Universe and has godlike powers. Basically, the most powerful Spider-Man out there. Like imagine like Phoenix Force level Jean Grey. This is like the ultimate Spider-Man that could exist. So that's probably not likely, but it's in space, so I got excited by that. What I feel like could
It's
be
great
more
that you
likely
thought
is
of it.
it's teasing either again that black suit, either
Mhm.
Peter's going to space at some point, or maybe it's picking up on the symbiote coming to Earth because something about the symbiote has qualities that are similar to the Spider-Man webs or whatever the app tracks basically, and that's why it's picking it up. But yeah, those are my two things. It's either Venom or Cosmic Spider-Man, and one of them would be really cool. The other one would just also be really cool, I guess.
Yeah, I obviously think it's hinting at something with Secret Wars. Nate, is that
Mhm.
what you're thinking?
I was thinking timey-wimey stuff. I was thinking that it's like a somehow through space and time, that a future version of our Peter Parker is out there in space, right? And
Cosmic Spider-Man.
with everything going on with Secret Wars and that we're going to experience through Doomsday, I think it's very likely that we could be getting more time hopping situations, more of like going through the movies, going through the multiverse saga, for instance,
Mhm.
and maybe changing things or altering things.
Mhm.
Maybe Peter comes back to try to stop him from ever creating the inhibitor chip. I don't know, but like the idea that was kind of the main thought was just like it has to be Secret Wars stuff, just because that's how close we are. It's either that or it's Miles Morales
Space.
from in space from Spider-Man
Yeah.
Beyond the
I knew you were
Spider-Verse.
gonna
I
yeah.
think it could be, and he ends up at Xavier's school, and Jean Grey meets him, and that's very unlikely, but it's fun
And
and it's what I
it's
like.
weird
So I
because
want
he's
to,
the only one who's animated in the entire world. It'll be like
dude.
a Roger Rabbit situation.
I would be so down for that. You have no idea. That'd be so sick. But Justin, why do you think Spider-Man's in
Oh,
space, and why was Thor
I
crying?
told you, like, why we start crying. Oh, we can get to that later.
Yeah.
This had the cadence of the next time you'll see Spider-Man vibe to it. It's not
Hmm.
on Earth, it's in space.
Yeah.
That's what it really said to me. I feel like that's it. I didn't get enough time to really like look at the screen. But I was trying to see if there was like a date or anything that was like of significance to like understand if it's giving us a hint of something and events or whatnot. But yeah, I think it's more or less just a soft way to say that like they might not even fully know where and when he's going to come back. He's always going to be back in probably Secret Wars as one of the Avenger movies that he's doing. And you know, I think we talked about it on the podcast for This Week in Geek with Comic-Con. I don't know if we're going to get Secret Wars and at the end of 2027. I think we'll get it into like the middle of 2028, like May
Mhm.
2028. I could see that happening. But you know, that said, it's like, do they do two Avenger films? Is there another one? And you know, he's in that, and it's more spacey
Is it
stuff.
is it Mayday Parker from the future? She's an astronaut. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be cool if this is hinting at like him joining the Fantastic Four or the Future Foundation type thing. That would be neat because
Oh, that's
that
pretty
is
cool.
something that happens in the comics. It'd
I
be a
like
neat way to
that,
go that way. If that's the way, if that's where he starts getting help from in the future, to
bro.
when he takes the mask off and becomes Peter Parker or Spider Man or whatever. But
Maybe he does feel
yeah,
comfortable because nobody knows him there. Okay, there you
yeah.
go. There, put that in your little pilot. That makes sense though. Like that would make sense. Like he feels like it's like, oh hey, I can be Peter Parker out here. I don't nobody
Yeah, this
knows me,
this
right?
family
Like,
goes around with their faces exposed and they're
yeah,
just fine.
and they're
So
the
yeah,
only
I can do it
heroes
too.
here. I could come
Yeah.
here. Reed's invited me out here to learn and spend some
Mhm.
time with the Future Foundation, like post Secret Wars and stuff like that. I like that. That's pretty cool. I like
Could
that
be
because
neat.
I wonder if we're gonna be left with a place at the end of Secret Wars where there are just their universes are still separate, but they still interact with each other to a degree. If that makes
Be
sense.
interesting. Or if we're going to go a Battle World route where it's just pieces of the other universes all just start pulled together and
We're definitely
what
going Battle World.
remains.
I
Yeah.
think that's going to be the end of like the at the end of Doomsday is that piecing together of that. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. But even after Secret Wars or after Battle World, sorry, the new Earth is
the new
brought
Earth is
together
made
from
up of that.
scraps.
Yes, you're right.
Scraps of Battle World, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only thing with like the whole idea of like the symbiote of it all, it's like I thought it was on Earth.
It is
'cause I
on
thought
Earth.
Danny Rojas was in that bar.
That was that universe's symbiote is on Earth. Our universe's symbiote could still be coming from space to pick up its other part of symbiote. Like that's
So
kind of
could
why I thought
our-
a symbiote would be coming. Is like part of me is over there now. How the fuck to get there? Let's go check that out. Type
Right.
thing.
But Carnage did show up at some point.
That was again in that universe. That universe, do not forget about
so,
it.
But
like,
so this universe is Carnage. Maybe that's what we're looking at. I don't know.
It could be.
Carnage
comes from Venom.
Carnage comes from
that?
Venom. Like Venom
Yeah,
is an
that-
asexual thing, and he produces
Symbiotes are asexual.
yeah.
All of them, not
Right.
just Venom.
Yeah, sorry, no, my apologies. Yeah, I meant to say symbiotes. Symbiotes are asexual, so it reproduced another symbiote, which was Carnage, and so it's like
I guess
born
it
its
just
rage.
gets messy with the Sony stuff, you know.
Yes.
Well,
that's where it
they
just
like
starts to
if
get-
anyone's gonna know how to handle the story, it's the Marvel trust, if you will, right? The people that know the characters. So I feel like they would be able to do what they're doing right now, give guidance and help and stuff. I guess, as we kind of get to the end here, well, we're at the end. Anything else you thought about this post-credit scene?
The only thought I had was I really want them to release, if they haven't already, the Spider Tracker app. Like maybe they made it a website or something, but like I'd love.
I think it is
actual,
a website. Yeah.
Yeah, Spider Tracker website.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, let's make it a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds like something they would have used to like keep track of them on the world tour or something like that. Maybe,
But that's how they announced it with this. With
yeah,
like,
with
but
Spider
maybe it was
Tracker.
more of a visual than it was like.
I want a
actually.
real Spider Tracker app and replace the Santa Claus app for kids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That'd be so sick.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
this is where
It just-
Spidey
it's
is now.
Oh, he's still
He's
in New
delivering
York.
presents.
Oh, Spider. Oh, he's still in New York.
He's
Okay.
still in New York. Now he's in space.
No, he's in New York still. Dang it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we get to the end here, I did want to kind of like ask you guys, do you think at some point we're gonna see a shift in hands here? Because like Marvel's really been steering this ship with basically the rights that Sony owns to the character that's in their IP that they've sold the theatrical rights. It's a bit all over the place. Like, do you think that they're gonna try to preserve this relationship, or do you think they'll bite down and Marvel will spend the money and get him back?
I want anyone who's listening to this right now who hasn't watched Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man to watch Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Let's get those numbers up. Be able to show them that, hey, you know what? Marvel handles Spider-Man's rogues gallery, his villains, significantly better than what we've gotten from Sony in their own standalone movies. In the John Watts stuff, great, fantastic. But everything outside of that is reason enough to say, hey, Marvel, buy this character and buy this universe. It'll absolutely be worth it for you. And I would personally love that. And I would love to even get like, say, you know what, this was the first of the 3 Destin Daniel Cretton films, like a Destin Daniel Cretton trilogy. John Watts had his trilogy. I would love to continue whatever happens next, whether it's Sony or Marvel. I want it to be Destin in the director's chair.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he should do the next one, and it would make sense too if, like, given our relatively loose pitch for a sequel, it would make a lot of sense if they were able to, like, again, continue some of the thematic storytelling and help kind of feed into what Metzger's doing and other things that he might be working on that could then trickle into X-Men. Do you know what I mean? So if Metzger's definitely the character to carry it through. How about you, Darcy?
Yeah.
You think Sony's going to hand over Spider-Man back to Marvel?
No, because I don't think they're going to hand over. I don't know why they changed the deal they have going right now, because it's working out for both of them as far as they care. Maybe like the live action, let Marvel or MCU stuff take care of that while they can take the animated stuff. Because again, the Spider-Verse movies are so awesome and they are killing it on that front. So I can see them again wanting to be like, okay, you take the live action Spider and let us keep doing our animated Spider-Man movies going forward, stuff like that. Because I'd hate to see that universe die just to get Marvel full control,
No, I don't think it would die though. I think Marvel would do the thing and would work with Sony to still do those stories and say, yeah, if you want to do those stories, like I because why not? Like they as fans are probably like, that was fucking awesome. Like
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yeah.
bring them over.
Sure.
That's the special sauce.
Yeah, but
when
you
it
still
really
need
comes down to it
Sony
for Spider-Verse.
animation to make it.
So yeah,
Sure.
that's, yeah.
Right?
Okay,
You can't have.
Well, then
Marvel.
we do a deal in reverse.
No, I feel like, again, we're talking about.
Sure. Yeah.
You were talking about this idea that, like, I think the deal that they have, and I'm just trying to verify this first before I get to it. Just doing a quick Google search, because you mentioned the deal, Darce, and like Sony Pictures, like, will finances the majority of the film, distributes it worldwide, and collects all the box office revenue after the theaters take their share. Marvel, or Disney, I guess, creatively produces the film alongside Sony, and Kevin Feige overseeing how we're integrating that character into the MCU. So apparently, under the current agreement, this is definitely a Google search, between Sony and Disney, which was renegotiated in 2019, Disney co-finances approximately 25% of the production budget and receives approximately 25% of the film's profits. So it's like a break-even situation for them, so that they can just creatively have input in it. So Sony retains the majority of that. So I think it's safe to say Sony's not going to try to, like, sell it, but
I guess just give more creative control than for these other villain stories outside
that's
of,
really it.
right?
That's
because the biggest thing is like this
your whole Spider-Man cinematics universe needs to be handled by Marvel, is what you're saying.
Yes, it's got to be cohesive.
Because it's for the cohesiveness, but also just from a standpoint of quality. It's like, hey, Sony, you like making a lot of money on the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Wouldn't you like to make a lot of money on all these other characters? Like, I think they would, right? So if we're not going to hand over the reins entirely, then I'll take that, I guess.
So yeah, I think it's definitely working out to be a very fruitful relationship. It's also a very interesting one, just because of, like we were saying, like, it's a Marvel original IP that was then, movie rights were sold to another studio, and now, instead of trying to acquire those rights back because they know that it makes them money, they're not, the studio's just working with them as a creative liaison, and helping to kind of, like, get the right people in the right places, and just tell the story in the way that they need. It's a very unique process, you know what I mean, just to get one character into a cinematic universe. So it's interesting, though. So yeah, I think they'll I'm with you. I think they're going to keep it for the sake of it. But yes, if you're doing another cinematic universe, you want to do a rogues gallery, I'm all for doing, like, a villain story. I'm excited for Clayface. I loved the Joker, you know what I mean? Like, and the Penguin was fantastic.
The Penguin
right?
was awesome. Yeah.
So it's like there's potential there, and, like, Infinity War is 100% a Thanos film.
Yeah.
There is a way to do these things, just not Morbius, just not Madam Web. You know what I mean? So
not Craven.
Again, I would love to see all of those characters, but done by the MCU. Do you know what I mean? Like, in some capacity. So, but hey, look at this, guys. It's an hour and 30 minutes, and we're here at the end of our spoiler-free review. Hopefully you are too, if you haven't left us.
Maybe your body's also changed by now. You know?
Absolutely. Well, we hope you enjoyed our spoiler-filled discussion for Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you did, and you want to let us know, you can reach out to us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or you can hit us up on Twitter, on X, at GeekcentricYT, or on Instagram and TikTok at We Are Geekcentric. Keep in mind, we have a ton of great episodes out right now for you to enjoy on podcast feeds. Like our most recent episode, our spoiler-free review for Batman Caped Crusader Season 2. We also have our This Week in Geek episode, where we talk all things SDCC 2026, because, we got SDCC Dirty Boys on that. That's the three of us. Just in case anyone needs to know. We also have our spoiler-free review for The Odyssey, our spoiler discussion for 007 First Light, and a review for Disney's Moana, which is essentially the same movie, so it's not a spoiler-free. So, that's that. We also have a ton of great interviews on podcast feeds and on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/geekcentric. We talk to actors, directors, composers, all the fine people behind the things we love. More to come. The Hot Geek Summer continues. I've been schvetting. this has been a sweaty week. So
gets sweaty up in here.
it's getting there. And it's only going to get sweatier as we get into D23 first off. We won't be going, but we will be covering it very much like how we covered San Diego Comic-Con, just kind of recapping some of the news and the highlights and anything that's come out of there. We did talk about maybe is this the place where we get a little X-Men announcement, a title card, or a date. I think that's very likely. Before we go,
definitely say that too. Yeah,
I don't think we're getting cast. I don't think we're getting
No.
Sadie Sink could come out and be the person with Kevin Feige and being
Title
like,
and
have a little
date,
banter and like,
"Oh, we're gonna
so what
do
was it
this."
like hiding your character? Yeah, now
That's what
everyone
I
knows.
said.
Yeah, you're.
But I think I do
Yes.
really agree with you, Darcy, because thinking back to it, I'm like, yeah, there's no way with wanting to sunset the Fox X-Men. There's no way they're going to bring in. Let's
No,
bring
but
in the new cast
after-
before we.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Out
on
with the
heels of
old and
Gene
then in
being
with the
it,
new.
though,
Yeah, and I honestly think
I'm eating my words from that podcast now.
no, but I think though I don't think they're gonna do a big cast reveal. I think they're going to at the very least cement a date and lock in a title.
And who's
right?
directing it again?
It's Jake Schreier who did
Jake
Thunderbolts.
Schreier.
Yeah.
And Jake Schreier comes out and says, you know what? We couldn't just do this as a film. Coming to Disney Plus in 2028. X-Men. Live action series.
Competing with X-Men
no.
97? No.
I'm just saying,
I feel like
maybe.
I feel
So
like
they're stepping away from series like an
Yeah.
date series like that too.
We'll see.
I feel like they are. I think yeah. So anyways, all this to say, we'll see. We will see. It's all up in the air. We will be talking about it on in some sort of This Week in Geek recap for D23. Definitely. And we also have Fan Expo Canada happening here in Toronto, which we will also be covering as well. And then we haven't heard about TIFF yet, but we're definitely trying. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And hey, if you're enjoying what we're doing and you want to let us know, we would love to hear from you. Leave us a little review in the podcast app that you're listening to, your favorite podcast app, or a 5-star review. That goes a long way with spreading the Geekcentric love, because we are Geekcentric and you can be too. Nate, Darcy, thank you so much for joining me for this spoiler-filled discussion. And as we say,
I love you, little potatoes.
Laters.
peace.